Okay, so because of this scam that hit us, we had to kind of reassess the way we were testing silver, specifically when it relates to the file test. So what we did was we contacted a few experts in this field, and we found out that actually a good way to test silver flatware and servingware is going to be using our file. But instead of actually filing a V-shaped notch into the piece, like we normally would this way, we're going to actually rub the surface off of the piece. So I'm going to go ahead and file test this piece and show you how it's going to be done. So I'm going to take my file. You'll be receiving these thick square files or rectangular files in your stores within the next week. These are going to be about a 1/2 inch wide, and it'll give you a strong surface area for you to file your pieces. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and rub the surface off of the top of this knife. And as you can see, I'm kind of spreading out where I'm rubbing because I want to get a nice thick surface for me to test. And as you can see here, I do have about probably like a dime-sized spot that I've rubbed the surface off. I can feel it's rough and grooved. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for these other pieces I'm going to test. Now I want to show you the different reactions that occur using the solution and how this actually benefits me in seeing the surface more than actually creating a divot in it. So I'm going to go ahead and rub this piece as well. As you can see, my file is flat across the piece, and I am just rubbing. And I'm going to wait and make sure that the piece actually gets a little warm to the touch before I stop. That's how I know I got through the top layer. Remember, our goal is to test the meat of the piece and not just the top layer. I'm going to do the same on this. And then I'll actually do this last piece right here. Now on something like this, I can test the bottom portion, or if I want, I could just go ahead and test the side. For this purpose, I'm actually just going to test the side. Alright, and actually if you can see here on this piece, just by rubbing the surface layer off, I can actually see that this piece underneath is a different color. Now remember, if it is going to be silver, it's going to be silver on the inside and outside of the piece. Therefore the colors should match. So right off the bat, I know that this would be something I would go ahead and pass on. However, for these purposes, we're going to go ahead and test it to show you the results that happen. Now, the first solution I'm going to actually use, and the only solution I am going to use to test silver, is 14 karat. You heard me correctly, 14 karat. In the past, we were using 18 karat solution. However, what we have found is 14 karat solution is actually the solution we want to use to test silver. It's going to give us the most clear-cut reaction when we're testing with the file. Now, when we're stone testing, 18 karat solution is still going to be our silver detector on the stone. However, on the file, it's going to be 14 karat solution. So I'm going to go ahead and take this 14 karat solution, and I'm going to drop it onto my file mark on this piece. Now on this piece, I'm going to look and see if I see any green. We discussed green versus green, and I'm going to look and see if I see any violent green that's very bright in color and potentially smoking. Now as you can see here on this piece, I don't see any of that. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off, and what's left behind is actually the milky white, the same reaction you see on the stone. This is going to prove that it is authentic silver. So I would go ahead and purchase this knife. Now this next piece we're going to test, the file mark is right here. You can see where it's a rough surface compared to the actual piece itself. I'm going to go ahead and drop my 14 karat solution onto it. And what you see is a violent green reaction, the same reaction you see with gold. 14 karat solution is going to be our silver fake detector as well. So you can see on here, the second I drop this, it turns green, and you see that cloud of smoke. That is going to indicate to me that this is fake, and this is something I'm not going to want to purchase. Now this next piece right here, I'm going to use my 14 karat solution to test for silver, and I'm going to go ahead and drop a drop of solution on here and wait for the reaction. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds always, because any additional plating, I'm going to wait and see if the acid eats through it. But see, I don't see any green reaction. That's a good sign. That means that this is going to be authentic silver. You can see by the milky white color there. So that's going to be something I'm going to purchase. Now this next one, we see that it is already a different color underneath. A lot of times, silver plate does have copper or some other metal underneath, and you might see a different color. Now if you do, you don't even have to test further, but for these purposes I want to see what reaction occurs. So I'm going to go ahead and drop some solution on it, and you can see that immediately it turns a violent green and fizzes. Now it does leave a streak, and some of it does look milky white, as you can see shown right here. However, the actual spot I tested, which is the meat of the piece, does not have milky white on it. We're going to go ahead and do it again. And wipe it off. And you can see right here that the actual piece itself has more of a brown goldish color underneath, yellow color underneath, and the plating over here is silver in color. So if I was just testing the plating, I would get a good silver reaction. However, I'm testing the inside of the piece, and I can see that it is not going to be authentic. This is something I would go ahead and pass on. So, to recap, when you're testing silver, file testing silver, we're going to make sure that we take a rectangular file, and we're going to go ahead and file the piece and make sure that we rub a flat surface and that we can rub the top coating off of the piece. This is going to be incredibly important to make sure we get to the meat of the piece and that we have a big enough surface area that we can actually see what is happening, what reaction is occurring. Now once you're done filing, you're going to take your 14 karat solution And you're going to go ahead and test the piece for silver. You're going to put the solution on, wait a few seconds, wipe the solution off, and then read the results. And the results of this says that it's silver. Now, if you have any questions regarding this testing process, please feel free to contact your district manager and they would be able to help you out. There will be a step-by-step tutorial going out showing you exactly how all of this works.